This is Starship Troopers Extermination. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well. So this is your battle against the bugs. Remember, the only good bug is a dead bug. Enlist today, I'm doing my part. Argue! Anyway, Starship Troopers is a really fun franchise. It's silly, it's ridiculous, it's incredible satirical action. And the movies are... the first one's really cool, and it gets kind of weird, but the concept of fighting against the bugs and then having kind of a good level of satire to it is always quite welcomed and enjoyable in terms of like lore and everything like that. And the game itself is an absolute blast. So it's kind of based around the idea of either building kind of defenses, like walls and everything like that, and defending a certain point against waves, or going out and completing various objectives around the map. And like I said, it's a ton of fun to play. So here we are on the quality mode, in case you're wondering about the experience. So the game has two different performance options here on the Series X. So the quality mode is like your kind of fullish 4K at 30 FPS, but it dips down to like 20 something FPS. It's not super smooth, and some of the movement you'll see that's a little awkward in the game is mostly because of the it seems like there's some network lag occasionally, but honestly it's not too bad. So I would recommend the graphics mode on performance, and it crashes the console every time you switch the graphics modes. It's hilarious. So anyways, we switch to the performance mode, which is the default mode and what I recommend, and as I said, it does seem to crash every time you switch graphical options. And other than that, I think I had like one crash that kind of popped up, so for the most part, I think the game runs pretty well. There are some dips in the performance mode, but for the most part, considering how much is going on, it actually keeps relatively stable while you're playing it. So just kind of stick with performance, where it is more of a heavier dynamic 4K resolution, which I think still looks pretty good. Like, obviously you might see some, you know, like I said, performance dips, and there might be some texture type things where it's not like perfectly loading up at times, but honestly it looks pretty solid. I think it looks fine, and it really does, to me, nail that sort of style and vibe that you would expect out of Starship Troopers. I think we're supposed to build a refinery over here, if I'm not mistaken, for this like kind of side thing that's going on. You have different objectives, sometimes defending, sometimes attacking, and then there's different difficulties. And the game does get really grueling when you go to hard mode. Like, it is a blast having like 16 players on top of walls you've created, just pumping lead into hundreds of like crazy bugs. Different types of bugs. The tiger ones are scary, and there's ones doing like artillery shots, and it's pretty wild. Like, honestly, it is a pretty crazy thing when you have these massive swarms going off at you. And that's where I'm saying the performance is like relatively good, because even during those like crazy sequences, you know, it does actually seem to keep things going smoothly during that, and it does seem like it's more like a lot of networking stuff. And then the quality mode kind of has some like performance issues here or there, so I don't know if you would really leave performance mode, but you know, the choice is kind of up to you. Anyways, as I was saying, I've been having just an absolute blast playing this game. It's far exceeded what my expectations were for it. I think this is just really, really cool. You just get to mow down these crazy selections of bugs, and strangely, it's one of those games where the time just absolutely flies by when you are playing it. How far away is this objective? Holy. Seems like it's just miles away to do this thing. I like the objectives where you just kind of sit around on the tall walls and you protect things. But no, it's cool to get this variety of level options that you can enjoy, and then different difficulty tiers on top of that. And as I kind of mentioned, it's this forever rotating selection of like maps and game types, so it's always something different every time you go about it. And I think that's so cool. You know what else is cool is when the piles of bugs like mash up, you actually have to climb the bugs to get past them, or the bodies might get in the way of stuff. And yeah, it's really quite interesting how they've done this setup, and just like how wild things can get when you're playing this, because your screen can literally just be covered with this endless onslaught of bugs and explosions and liquid and stuff like that. Like, it's a pretty wild time. Can we actually collect this? I'm trying to see if the things actually come out here. Like, there's so many bugs on top of bugs here. It's a little ridiculous in the spot for sure. No, but it's just madness. And there's a decent selection of maps, like I kind of went over. I think that's one aspect that hopefully they will build upon as more map options, but they do kind of switch up how you go on the maps, how you tackle the situations around the levels. That in itself is all well done, and there's some different, you know, setups to those maps as well, in terms of, like, you know, in this situation, you're going in and doing this portion, then you're doing another portion, then you're building, then you're defending, then you're moving through and, like, nuking nests, and there's actually, like, a decent selection of what you're doing in this game. And, like I was saying, the time just, like, flies by. Like, it was shocking. Like, I was streaming this, and basically, the first time I even looked at the, I guess you would say clock time-wise, it was like 4 hours. It just like whipped right by, and I was blown away because I was like, holy. It's very much hard to find games that provide that kind of level of like, I'm into this, I'm not really thinking of the time, I'm just trying to have fun basically. And there's just so much going on, especially during those later rounds of fighting on hard difficulty, and like 16 players are just like blasting the seemingly never-ending selection of bugs. It's really, really cool. I think they've got something truly special here gameplay-wise. Like, I was having just an absolute blast diving into this. Why is that position so aggressively far away? Like, I can't even get over just how far between spots these are. Like, this is actually probably the furthest I've seen an objective placed in comparison to, like, your main base. And that's another really cool part of this game, is there's such an element of basically scale to it, too. Like, with the number of players you have cooperatively working together. It's interesting, because, like, I can be on, like, one part of a base that we've created, fighting alongside several players, and then you might have, like, several on another part, doing something entirely different. And you don't even really think about the other people, and you kind of hope that they're doing their job and their part. I mean, they already have, because they enlisted, but you get what I'm saying, is it's just this element. I'm actually probably going to die out here. This element that's so cool, the fact that, like, there's this many characters out doing different things in different areas, like these guys defending this spot, and it's just really interesting for those that go and do, like, the objectives and stuff, and those that defend the bases. And sometimes your objective is to just defend the base. And as I said, it's just, like, an absolute blast. I don't know how well I'm showing it off here. It's kind of cool to have a map where you have to traverse that far, but you get a lot of players that kind of just, like, sit back and do the defending element of it, which is kind of funny. But you can tell that, like, there's the lag thing here, but that is really the servers, I think, having problems because there's so many people playing this at a certain point in time. But no, I think they did a wonderful job with this game on the console. It is genuinely just an absolute blast to play, and I think a lot of people will probably be surprised by how good this is. Like, if you've seen the movie, it's probably like, oh, you know, kind of intriguing, like, it's a fun universe. And I mean, there's Helldivers now and stuff, and Space Marines, so it seems like the year of the bug. But it's just so fun and enjoyable. And you kind of go through these massive warzone locations fighting these bugs and doing this stuff and doing, like, light missions or light objectives. Like, this is a multiplayer game. Like, it is meant to be played together, and I think that is the optimal fun, is just you in, like, small squads, like we're in a squad of 4 within the overall squad of 16. Going out there, having fun together as a group, just blasting away waves of enemies. And it's just somehow incredibly addictive, where you're just kind of mowing them down and not really thinking about it too much. Just kind of doing your mission, and then time just, like, whips by. It's ridiculous. There's also some complexity in the setup of your characters as well. So you're able to pick from a selection of different classes, And then you're also, like, this is under the custom classes in the game, so you can pick, you know, I want to be like a heavy, which seems to do better damage against the, where'd my teammate go? Oh, over there, infected cake. Seems to do better damage against some of them, because some of the guns you get, they don't have the bullet penetration to kill some of the crazier bugs, so then you're not really doing a whole lot for your team, but you might have, like, little jet boots and stuff that, like, propel you forward, which is really helpful. But you unlock attachments for your guns, you unlock things to customize how your guns and your characters look, and the different classes play into things as well. I don't know if they crazily changed the combat up, if you have like a good variety of them, but it definitely seems to change how I play the game and how I'm able to take out the bugs. And I think that in itself is really quite important. So like at times it almost plays like a tower defense, other times it plays like an objective-based move around the planet kind of thing, similar again akin to, say, Helldivers. And I think what they've set up there in terms of concept actually is a really effective way to provide a variety of missions, challenges, and things for you to do. And I'm very serious here how most of the game is usually based around just being at a base like from the movie literally and defending it and stuff, but we just happen to have a mission that I've selected here during the day, which is great because there seems to be so many night areas, and it allows us to actually like move across the map, which I guess maybe isn't the non-stop action some might expect or might have seen if you watch my stream, but it does show off a little bit of a different gameplay style within this one, and I think that is really, really great. So it would be cool if they do maybe iron out a little bit the servers, for sure, a little bit the performance, supported a little bit with some, you know, additional maps and stuff over time. I think that'd be really good. But I would say for the starting foundation here, they've got a great game. Like, this is genuinely a blast to play. It is surprising. Oh wait, we just need to literally deliver one more. Well, I'll go help out with that. It greatly, greatly exceeded the expectations I had for this, because I wasn't, I don't know, like I wasn't necessarily expecting it to be like this. Like, I thought I'd jump in, have some matches, have some fun. I'd be like, okay, this is fine. You know, kind of a new shooter to check out. Now I'm sitting here being like, I really want to keep playing this. And my only worry is, like, maybe the content at times might get too repetitive down the road. I don't know, but just mowing away like 4.5 hours and just not even thinking about the time at all until looking afterwards, really. That is genuinely impressive for a game to actually provide that sort of fun. Like, it's straight up fun. I don't know if it's the most complicated game in the world. I don't know if some people expect more dynamic storytelling or gameplay loops or something, but it's a game where you literally just go out, you blast huge swarms of bugs. They never seem to stop. You just keep mowing them down, and you have a lot of fun doing that. And I think, especially when you get to the harder difficulties, there's a lot more strategy in how you build your bases. But there's so many players where it's not necessarily on one individual to do anything. And that's really cool, too. Like, you feel like you're part of a large-scale squad. And I'm trying to think of other shooter games that have this sense of, like, camaraderie or, like, large-scale co-op play. And very, very few, if not, like, really any at this level. It's like 16 players cooperatively going off about things. I'd love to hear some other large-scale co-op games that people are playing. But no, it really hits the mark. Like, I feel like I'm contributing. I feel like, especially when the team's working together on objectives, that we got something really fun going on here. And it's hard for these types of games, because they come and go, it seems like, a lot of them, to really have that sort of fun staying power with me. And I'm sitting here being like, wow, this is like one to actually like keep around on the hard drive and have fun, and people actually seem to work together, and people actually seem to work for the objective, and it's got like that humor and that satire that I expect from the Starship Troopers things. Like, you can witness liberty like by flag postings or like your fallen troops, and yeah, it's really, really quite neat. And then again, on top of that, just seeing the bodies kind of like stack up and pile and pile and pile. It's kind of like that World War Z game if you played that. And you can get to the point where you've got, like, literally up to the top of the wall stacks of these bug bodies. And, you know, you try to get to, like, the escape ship to leave at the end of a match. And sometimes you literally have to crawl through, like, and climb and clamber over these large walls of bugs that you've destroyed. Like, hundreds of bugs. It's very, very effective, honestly. And it's just got this great sense of like sci-fi scale to it, and I really can't say more than enough nice things about this game because I just think it's absolutely just a blast to have. And yeah, I guess they basically call it the persistent Carnage System. So you're just literally seeing these like bundling collections of bugs happening. That's not something you can actually use. And that in itself is so fun, and it's like kind of rewarding too, especially if you're doing the round-based survival version of this game. And you get to like round 8 on hard mode, and you just see like all these bodies littered everywhere. It's really, really cool. Oh, so there is fall damage. That's hilarious. I was kind of wondering if we were almost invincible there. That's kind of funny. I don't know, do we need a gas? We need this thing for sure. Because it wants us to build there. I'm like, there's another refinery spot right here. And I think the game, visually and stuff like that, looks pretty decent, solid. Again, it handles decently well. And it's just been a lot of fun sitting here playing this game and being pleasantly surprised by what it has to offer, with the big portion of this one being pure fun and joy to play. I was having a lot of great laughs. I was having a lot of great fun moments playing cooperatively. And I think it is to a degree difficult for, you know, games to actually fully achieve that. It's a bit of a rarity for them to be so effective in that regard. Like, this really was sort of filled to the brim with like chaotic, wild surprise moments throughout my play, and it's just so neat to have this game kind of, I guess, come out of not almost anywhere. Like, I could have checked this out on PC, I guess, like a year back in early access, but kind of didn't end up doing that. And now I'm here taking a look at this, like, full release of it. I'm like, wow, I should have been playing this sooner, which I think in itself is a pretty impressive thing for a game to do. So I think there's a good amount of content here. I don't know if this gameplay is quite really showing off what we're usually doing, but I hope it's giving you an idea of kind of like some of the gameplay mechanics. Like, I just must have picked the map that's got like the longest sort of scale between objectives. Because like when we were streaming this, we didn't have a match where we were doing like this sort of large scale things. Because sometimes you're a group that's like going in and you're literally like destroying hives, and that's kind of your missions, and then you're building a base to fight off waves, and sometimes you're just fighting waves. And as I mentioned, it's a rotating, never-ending selection of objectives, modes, maps, and things that are happening. And it shuffles, I believe, every hour or so, and you're always getting something a little bit different. And that's where the map variation thing is kind of interesting, and I kind of hope they have more options there, because there's this map, which is your very typical, to me, when I think of Starship Troopers, I think of like an area like this. And then you've got like an asteroid, and then you've got, okay, well, where does this go? Oh, inside here. You know, like an asteroid place, and then some things like caves, and some of the maps are kind of like darker maps. A lot of dark maps. A lot of dark maps, but oh, it's so neat too. And then, you know, you build up these things like ammo supplies, you build up these different walls, you kind of level your characters so you get more deadlier like tools and perks and stuff for your class. And yeah, no, I really do feel they put together something very, very special. It's just a little bit of fine-tuning, and I'm assuming that's because the launch is probably a lot more successful than they probably imagined as the server thing. But like, yeah, no, I think they've got some real potential. Just clean it up a little bit, full of polish on this one. It's already running largely well, actually, honestly. But no, it's a fun game. I think they delivered something that a lot of people might actually have a lot of fun playing, and I think it's a pretty easy recommend for people to try and play if you like shooter games, if you like things like maybe Helldivers and you're looking for something similar but a little bit different. Like Starship Troopers is kind of that OG destroying the bug kind of thing, which again seems to be strangely popular this particular year, which is a little bit fun. But no, it's neat. It's got the base building, it's got the tower defense stuff, it's got some objective based play. I think it's got some really good surprises, a good sense of scale. It feels big, it feels intense, it feels intimate, especially when that chaos is going on. And it's just, yeah, it's Starship Troopers, which some people know about. Some might, even if it's just regular bug game for you. It's still a lot of fun to shoot them.